Hey, make me a cup too? I was leaning on the counter, one hand on the island, watching the machine grind. It was early Phoenix light, the kind that turns the tiles pale. She didn't look up from her phone. Make it yourself. That's new, I replied. You're standing right there. Her thumb flicked the screen. You always do this. Command mode. Maybe try acting like a husband, not a foreman. That was a sentence about coffee. Yeah. And under it, control. I straightened up. Or we can keep this simple. Simple? With you? Please. She tossed the phone onto the counter, hard enough to bounce. You're so used to getting your way. I'm tired of it. I stared at the machine, gurgling. We weren't talking about coffee anymore. The air had that metallic taste of a road sign before a crash. All right, I said, picking up my keys from the fruit bowl. I'm not playing guessing games. If every question is a crime, I'll get some air. I headed for the door. Her voice followed, brittle and high. I'm pregnant. The keys clicked against my palm. I turned. Her hands shook a little, not theatrical, just stress. For a second, everything in me recentered. The lines on her face looked softer. We'd been trying on and off for a while. That word hits a man like a sunrise. Are you sure? I crossed to her. You went in. Test at home. Doctor this week. I hugged her. A long one, steady. Okay, we're good. We're going to be good. If I'd known where that was headed, I'd have kept walking out that door. I drove to work with the kind of grin that makes strangers nod at you at red lights. In the parking lot, I posted one sentence. I'm going to be a dad. The replies started pinging. Old teammates, my sisters, Nate with a string of ridiculous celebratory emojis. I bought a box of cigars from a small shop near the office because my father did it that way, even if most people don't light them anymore. At lunch, I ducked into a bookstore, grabbed a baby name guide, and on my way back, I picked up a thin silver bracelet stamped Best Mom and a set of candles that smelled like orange peel and vanilla. I wanted to get home early and set it up on the dining table, dumb surprise or not, because men like me live for doing something concrete when we get big news. Build a crib, assemble a stroller, or at least lay out some small tokens with a note. At my desk, my boss, Barry, clapped me on the shoulder. Henley, you're going to be terrifying. Little league coach from day one. I'll just try not to mess up bath time, I told him. You're golden, he said, before lowering his voice. This'll steady everything. You too good. We will be, I answered, and meant it. Around 2, Lisa texted, you really posted already? I wrote back, yeah. Why? You want me to take it down? ... Paused and vanished. Then, no, it's fine. Just fast. Fast. It's a line about hope, not a press release. Still, I let it pass. Pick your battles, my father taught me. Save the energy for when it counts. For I was cutting out early. Don't tell HR. I nodded to Barry. Tell them what? That you left to buy more baby gear? Go. The sun was still high when I pulled into our driveway. The neighbors across the street, Tom and Aaron, were dragging a cooler. Their little boy was chalking a crooked galaxy. I raised a hand. Aaron called. We're doing burgers Saturday. You two come. Count us in, I said automatically, picturing Lisa tasting lemonade with a half smile, hand on belly. I balanced the bags carefully, eased the front door open to keep the surprise intact, and stepped inside. Laughter. Female. 3 voices, one of them hers. The living room was around the corner. I stayed in the entryway because the moment felt private, like a scene you don't crash. One voice said something I didn't catch. Then Lisa, crisp and cutting through the room like a knife through thin rind. I'm pregnant by my ex, and my husband has no idea. Silence came like a dropped plate. I walked into the living room and set the bags on the table. Scented candles, bracelet box, baby names book, a paper sack with a lighter and a small note I'd scribbled in the car. Tonight, we start our new story. 3 women sat on the sectional. Sabrina, who runs on gossip like a car on gas. Heather, who does yoga and talks like a therapist. And my wife, who now smiled with a lip curl I didn't recognize. Repeat that, I said quietly. Sabrina's eyes went wide. Heather stared at her drink. Lisa shifted, trying for the throwaway shrug. It was a joke. Dark humor. You know how we mess around. Which part is the joke? I asked. The pregnancy or the father? Her eyes darted, left, right, left, like a sparrow trapped indoors. Don't do this. Answer the question. Heather stood, mumbling something about a forgotten appointment. Sabrina followed. grabbing her purse like it was on fire. The front door thudded. We were alone. Lisa tried to fill the space. We were just. I opened the bracelet box, looked at it a beat, then put it back in the bag. My hands were steady because it was the only thing that would keep me from shaking the whole house. Mark. No, I kept my voice level. I heard what I heard, Lisa. If there's something you need to tell me, now would be the time. She lifted her chin, eyes shiny, mouth set. You're overreacting. That's all. I picked up the bags. I'm not doing theater. I'm going out. We'll talk when you can stick to one story. I walked out, put the bags on the passenger seat, and sat behind the wheel with my hands at 10 and 2, looking at the quiet street like it was an X-ray. The neighbor kid's galaxy had a new crude star. Night makes you brave or stupid. I drove across town to a stucco house in a development with identical mailboxes. I'd driven past it before, once, years back, when Lisa confessed she and Brian had met to tie up loose ends, and I wanted to see what kind of guy still had his hooks in my marriage. The porch light was off. I rang the bell and slid my hands into my pockets. The door opened to a woman I recognized from social media scrolling. Paige Cole. Neat ponytail, soft t-shirt, watch glinting. Can I help you? I'm Mark Henley, I said. We've never met. Her eyes narrowed. Do we know? Your husband made my wife pregnant. The hallway behind her seemed to tilt. Shoes lined up. A framed photo of two people in nicer times. She didn't say anything for a second. Then, from deeper in the house, a male voice. Paige? Who is it? Brian stepped into view. I hadn't seen him in person in years. He still had the gym shoulders and the salesman smile, and it slipped when he saw me. Mark? Hey, this is. Paige turned to him, not taking her eyes off his face. What is this? He lifted a hand as if commanding the air. Babe, go inside. I'll handle. You'll handle what? Her voice had that thin wire through it. She looked at me again. Is this a joke? It's not. I kept my tone even. Your husband knows what I'm talking about. Brian tried for the breezy paternal tone he probably used with clients. Mark, come on, man, you can't just, this is. He stopped because his wife was watching him like a microscope. People show you who they are under silence. The silence did my work. His pause confessed for him. Paige stepped away from the doorframe like the wood was hot. Get out, she said to him. Not me. Him. This is not the place, Brian muttered, reaching past her to push the door. I stepped back onto the mat. Not my place, I agreed. I delivered the message. I'm done here. Behind me as I hit the sidewalk, her voice started, furious, incredulous, too many years of trust collapsing into syllables. I didn't look back. You don't look back at a house that's on fire if you didn't light the match. I called Nate from the car. Nate's my oldest friend, the kind of guy who shows up in work boots and doesn't leave until the problem is solved. You're at whose house? He asked. Brian Cole's. I said one sentence and left. Where are you sleeping? I'm not going back there tonight. He didn't waste time. Spare room's clean. I'll leave the side gate open. When I rolled up to Nate's, he was on the patio with 2 waters and a bag of chips he didn't touch. He didn't hug me. Men like us don't do that on nights like this. He just asked, what's your plan? I'm not playing defense, I told him. No fights, no pleading. I'm drawing lines. Space. Time. Money. Story. I'm not letting a rumor run my life. Good, he said. I'm with you. In the morning I sent Lisa a text. I'll be at the house Saturday noon to pick up some clothes. Please be there or be gone. I'll let you know about the cookout. She wrote back. Mark, please, I said it was a joke. Can we talk? We can, I answered. But not in circles. A beat later came. I love you. I'm scared. I'm sorry. That was the first soft turn. Warm words after a slammed door. I let myself exhale an inch, then put the inch back in my pocket. Saturday, Tom's Grill sent smoke signals across the cul-de-sac. Phoenix heat was doing its thing, but in the shade of the carport and a couple of pop-up canopies, the neighborhood did what it always did. Cold beverages, paper plates, too many salads. I wasn't going to go. Then I thought about narrative. Who writes it if I don't? I walked over with Nate. He had the look of a man who will eject anyone who tries him. Aaron hugged me. We heard the news. Congrats. Where's Lisa? Running late, I said. I'm grabbing a burger and heading out. Sabrina was there, which I clocked like a cop in a crowd clocks a pickpocket. She was with 2 other usuals, Maya and Jess. Women who hang sentiment on whatever's convenient that day. They looked at me the way junior high kids look at a substitute teacher. Sabrina stage whispered to them, loud enough. Real men don't walk out on a pregnant wife. I set my plate down. Nate's head turned. He took one small step closer. I answered calmly, for the circle to hear. 2 days ago, I walked into my house with candles and a bracelet and heard my wife say, I'm pregnant by my ex and my husband doesn't know. If you have a quote that tops that, I'll listen. A hush slid over the patio. That detail has weight. It's not a mood, it's a fact. People respect facts, even when they hate them. Sabrina's mouth twisted. You're making a scene. No, I replied. I'm making a boundary. No more talking about me like I'm not standing 10 feet away. If anyone wants to discuss my marriage, they do it with me present, or they don't do it. She stepped forward, too close. You think you're a hero. Her hand shot out. Quick slap, not hard enough to bruise, but sharp enough to carry the sting of someone who wanted her line to land. Nate's voice came like a whistle. You're done. He pointed to the gate. He didn't yell. He didn't ask Tom. He moved like a bouncer who owns the place. Tom, a good man who hates drama, put a hand on Sabrina's elbow. Out. Now. Jess sputtered. This is out, Tom repeated. He wasn't smiling. They left in a knot of indignation, dragging the story behind them like a broken kite. I picked up my plate again and took a bite. People didn't make eye contact for a minute. Then Aaron came and refilled the bowl of chips like life had to pretend to be normal, and that was that. I turned to Nate. Thanks. He shrugged. You set the line. I kept it tidy. I ate the rest of the burger standing. I said goodnight to Tom, thanked him for the hospitality, and told him, clearly and politely, that I wouldn't be attending any more gatherings where people used my name as sport. Not a threat, I added. A preference. He nodded, shame in his eyes for what happened under his roof. Won't happen again. On the walk back, Nate asked, You sure you want to do the lawyer thing? I don't want to fight, I told him. I want the truth on paper. Monday morning, I sat in a quiet office with frosted glass and a bowl of mint candies. The name on the door, Karen Blake. She was mid-40s, steady gaze, legal pad already half-filled. You said you don't want drama, she started. Good. Because drama is expensive and wastes your life. You want clarity. I want facts, I answered. And I want to adjust my life accordingly. She uncapped a pen. Then we build a timeline. Work travel, phone pings, house logs, her medical records, and any communications relevant to conception dates. I can get you plane tickets, hotel receipts, gate photos, I said. I was in Chicago in June for 2 weeks. Which dates? 10th through 24th. She wrote the range, circled it. We'll pull the window of conception. If it intersects with your Chicago trip, we'll have biological clarity. I'm not out for blood, I told her. I'm out for dignity. Karen's mouth hinted at a smile. You'd be surprised how rare that sentence is in my office. Nate met me afterward at a diner near my work. He brought a folder because he's a man who respects paper. I found the calendar app you never use, he grinned. You had client dinners logged in Chicago on the 12th, 15th, and 18th. And your boarding passes. And the hotel key charge. Good, I said. We're not writing a story. We're laying bricks. That afternoon, Karen texted, Need consent for release of prenatal records. I forwarded it to Lisa with a one-line note. Please sign and return to Karen. She responded, Who is Karen? The attorney who will help us get clarity, I wrote. She took a half hour, then sent a signed doc. That was the second soft turn, cooperation, as if nothing had happened in my living room. The tactic was clean, go along enough to keep me warm. 2 days later, Karen called. I have the window, she said. Estimated conception between June 12th and 18th. And you have my travel receipts. I do. Thank you, I told her. Send me a copy. You seem calm, she said. I've been angry before, I answered. It never helped me pay a bill. That's good, Karen replied. Angry men try to win. Calm men exit with grace. I drove back to Nate's and sat on his patio in the twilight, the desert air cooling slightly, which passes for mercy in Phoenix. I looked at the printout on my lap. 2 ranges. No overlap. You don't need a law degree for that math. Nate poured 2 glasses of unsweet tea. So, June 12 to 18. I was in a different time zone. He didn't say congrats or sorry. He just asked, What's your next move? I'll go home, pack my essentials, and remove ambiguity. I'll set a new schedule and new rules of contact. No yelling. No debate. You want me nearby? I'll handle it. Call if you need a wall to lean on, he said. Or to knock down. When I walked into the house that evening, it was cleaner than I'd seen it in months. The dining table had a linen runner we only used on holidays. Photos of us from 4 years back were suddenly on the mantel again, smiling at sunsets, picnic blanket, that trip to San Diego where we ate street tacos and felt like we'd beaten time. She'd curated the room like an exhibit. She stepped out from the kitchen with a tray of cut fruit. I made your favorite, she said. I'm here to pack, I answered. Just 5 minutes. She placed the tray down. We've been off, I know that. I've been scared and stupid and trying to get your attention in the worst ways. But this baby, she touched her stomach. It's ours. Karen pulled the conception window, I said. June 12th to 18th. Her face froze, some calculation happening behind her eyes. Those windows are estimates. I was in Chicago from the 10th to the 24th. Your phone pings at this house, and at your office match that. You know how much I hate math. This one I can do. She swallowed. It's yours, Mark. It has to be. Women always know who the father is, I replied. You were hoping I wouldn't know. That's not fair. What's fair is a conversation with the truth in it. I turned toward the hall. I'm taking clothes, my tools, my documents. You can use the house. I'll coordinate pickups by text. All finances continue as agreed until we draft new terms. Communication only via email or text. No drop-ins. No scenes. She shadowed me down the hallway. So you're punishing me. I'm removing myself from a game show. I'm pregnant, and you're leaving. You made an announcement to your friends that drew a clear picture. You told me it was a joke. Then your timeline told me everything else. I'm not the audience for this anymore. She grabbed my arm, fingers tight. Please, we can fix this. I took her hand gently and moved it away. You didn't just break us. You buried us. I'm done cleaning up the debris. In the bedroom, I pulled a duffel from the closet. Socks, shirts, 2 suits, boots, toolbox from under the bed, the small fire safe with passports and a stack of titles. She hovered at the doorway like a guard without a badge. What do I tell people? She asked. The truth. Or nothing. But stop telling jokes with me as the punchline. She exhaled hard. You're not even going to yell. No. You don't get to put me in that costume. On the way out, I paused at the table where the bracelet bag still sat from the other night. I took out the bracelet, closed the clasp around the box so it couldn't fall out, and slid the whole thing into my duffel, leaving with my name on it. I said, seems appropriate. Mark, she pleaded, and this time her voice shook. Please, please don't do this. I adjusted the strap on my shoulder. We already did, I told her. I set my key, the spare, on the table by the door. I'll mail the rest. She stood in the entryway as I stepped onto the porch. The heat hit me like an oven door. I didn't slam anything. I didn't look back. I walked to my truck, turned the engine, and let the radio stay off. At the light, my phone vibrated. A long text from Lisa, all caps and small words and promises, and a line about destiny. I put the phone face down. That was my rule now. No answers in the car. No answers at night. No answers with heat behind them. Only daylight decisions. The next week had a new rhythm. I slept at Nate's. I drove to work. I met Karen once more to sign documents that would start the official unwinding. Divorce filings, a request to establish legal clarity on paternity, a temporary plan for bills. No theater, just signatures. At lunch, I went to the gym with Barry, who lifts like he's trying to outstare time. He didn't pry. He just racked the weights and said, "You good?" "I'm better than yesterday," I said. 2 days later, Paige Cole texted me from an unknown number. "I'm sorry for your part in our mess. I don't know what you want from me, but I won't be covering for him." I typed back, "I want nothing. Good luck." She wrote, "You too." Lisa kept trying the soft front. She sent a photo of a sonogram, blurry swirls, text overlay from the clinic. She wrote, "You sure you don't want to be at the next appointment?" It broke me a little that she thought parenting was a costume you could hand someone and tell them to wear. I answered, "Not my place." She responded, "You'll regret this." I didn't. I regret rain on days I schedule yard work. I regret buying cheap tools. I don't regret protecting my name. On Friday, I swung by the house during work hours to grab the rest of my boxes. I texted ahead, Coming by at 2. Please leave the front door open. She wrote back, I'll be here. Let's talk like adults. The living room was even more staged now. Candles arranged, soft music, picture frames like witnesses. She wore the sweater she used to wear when we'd go for late desserts on Sundays. I made coffee, she offered. I'm good, I said, bending to lift the box of books I'd set aside years ago and never read. This is not you, she tried. You don't quit. I don't tolerate disrespect. Different category. I was scared, she said. I made a bad joke. You made a statement so your friends would validate a private choice, I replied. You tested how far you could go by lowering me in the room where my own couch sits. That was the play. You're being cruel, she whispered. No, I'm being clear. I took the last box to the truck. When I came back for my jacket and a drill set, she was by the door, eyes hard now, care flipping back to control because one didn't work. You won't find anyone who will put up with you, she spit. That's not the goal, I said. I want someone who doesn't make me a joke to my neighbors. She made a noise like a laugh that lost its nerve. Good luck. Already making my own, I answered. You should try it. I left my garage door opener on the kitchen counter, beside a note that listed the utilities I'd keep paying until the end of the month and a plan for the dog we didn't have, because we always said next year. It was the closest thing to tenderness I could offer, a plan. When I closed the truck's tailgate, Tom was mowing his front lawn. He killed the engine and walked over, wiping his brow with the bottom of his t-shirt. You okay? He asked. I'm fine, I said. Keep your cookouts decent. He nodded. You deserve that. Everyone does, I replied, and pulled away. That was months ago. I'm telling this from a small townhouse I rented down in Ahwatukee with a garage that makes my tools look organized for the first time since 2009. There's a grill on the patio that actually gets used. There's a new pickup in the drive because I wanted one since I was 31 and kept talking myself out of it for other people's priorities. At work, Barry promoted me, said the way I handled my personal storm told him everything he needed to know about how I'd handle clients in rough waters. I hired a kid named Isaac to help me on weekends with small contractor jobs I used to do for favors. Now I charge market rate and pay the kid fair. I started seeing someone. Her name's Dana. She's not a replacement. She's her own person with her own life. And the first time we had a disagreement about a scheduling mix-up, she didn't make it a referendum on my character. She said, let's fix the calendar. And we did. She doesn't love speeches. She loves breakfast burritos at a spot near South Mountain, and she likes my bad habit of playing old rock too loud while we drive. Lisa's life. I hear things. I don't go looking, but people talk. Brian's marriage ended, unsurprisingly. He moved to a rental and started showing up less reliable on his job from what Nate's friend said. Lisa moved into a smaller place closer to her sister. Those are just facts. I don't celebrate them. I keep my head where my feet are. Sometimes I think about that morning in our kitchen, how quickly the weather changed from coffee to accusation. How a single line can tell you a whole novel if you're awake. I made mistakes in my marriage. I worked long hours. I got quiet when I should have asked better questions. But I didn't turn into a joke to earn love that wasn't there. If there's one thing I'd put on a plaque in my garage, it's this. Don't argue about your name. Protect it by how you move. By what you tolerate. By what you won't. On a Saturday now, I'll take the truck out toward the mountains, park at a trailhead before the heat becomes a blade, and walk. I don't tell the rocks my story. I don't know the sky explanations. I come home, clean the tools, answer Dana's text about dinner, and flip burgers on my own grill. When neighbors drop by, they talk about home repairs and kids' soccer schedules. Nobody slaps anyone. Nobody asks me to be the punchline. And when I see a man at a gas station staring at his phone with that stunned look, like he just read a message he can't unread, I nod to him. Not a pity nod, a respect nod. Because getting out clean is harder than staying, and pretending a lie is just a joke. I'm Mark Henley. I asked for a cup